Buying a house it's a huge step, but trying to figure out the mortgage process, it can seriously feel like you're lost in a maze of legal documents. So today, we're going to decode that maze. We're going to look at the key laws that are actually designed to protect you, the home buyer.
Yeah, if you've ever just stared at a giant stack of mortgage documents, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All that paperwork, the confusing fine print, the legal jargon, it is enough to make your head spin.
You just get hit with this alphabet soup of acronyms, right? RESPA, TILA, ECOA, HOPA. It feels impossible to keep track of it all. But here's the secret. Every single one of those laws was created to solve a very specific problem for homebuyers. So today, let's just ignore the jargon and focus on the 4 biggest problems these laws were designed to fix.
Okay, first up, a problem that I think everybody worries about: hidden costs. You see a great interest rate advertised, but you have this nagging fear in the back of your mind that by the time you actually sign on the dotted line, the deal is going to be loaded up with unexpected fees. How do you really know the true cost?
Well, that's exactly why 2 key laws exist: the Truth in Lending Act, or TILA, and the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA. You can think of them as your personal transparency watchdogs. Their entire job is to force lenders to lay all their cards out on the table and reveal the total cost of borrowing.
And the single most important tool they give you is this one number called the APR, or the annual percentage rate. Now, this isn't just the interest rate, it's the all-in price tag for your loan. It bundles that interest rate together with most of the fees to give you one clear percentage that you can use to compare different offers.
This comparison really nails it. The interest rate you see on the left, that's just the basic cost of borrowing the money. But the APR on the right, that's the whole enchilada. It includes that interest plus major costs like origination fees and mortgage insurance. So get this, 2 loans could have the exact same 6% interest rate, but if one has higher fees, its APR might be 6.3% while the other is 6.1%. That's why the APR is the true bottom line number, and it's the one you should always use when you're shopping around.
The law also builds in this mandatory cooling-off period. As soon as you submit 6 key pieces of information, like your name, income, and the property address, a clock starts ticking. Within 3 business days, your lender must send you a loan estimate. Then, and this is critical, you have to receive the final closing disclosure at least 3 business days before you're scheduled to sign. This gives you a protected window of time to compare the first estimate with the final numbers and spot any surprises.
So we've seen how these laws make sure costs are transparent. But what about fairness in the decision itself? That brings us to our second big problem, making sure that every qualified person gets an equal shot at a loan, completely free from discrimination.
And this is the whole mission of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, or ECOA. It's a really powerful civil rights law with a very simple, direct purpose. When it comes to getting a loan, only your financial qualifications should matter. Period. End of story.
And as you can see here, the protections are incredibly broad. Lenders are legally forbidden from discriminating based on any of these protected classes. For example, they can't deny you a loan just because you're single, or because you're retired, or because part of your income comes from public assistance. Your financial profile is the only thing that's supposed to count.
And the law itself, which is known as Regulation B, leaves absolutely no room for doubt. This quote shows just how comprehensive it is. The ban on discrimination covers every single part of the process, from the very first ad you might see to the final papers you sign.
All right, now we have to turn to a bit of a darker side of the industry: predatory lending. This is where loans aren't actually designed to be paid back. They're designed to trap borrowers in a vicious cycle of debt with really abusive and unsustainable terms.
To fight this, Congress created the Home Ownership and Equity Protection Act, also known as HOPA. This law basically acts as a special shield for the most vulnerable borrowers. It identifies a category of high-cost mortgages and gives them a powerful set of extra protections.
So how does a loan get flagged as high cost? Well, there are 2 main triggers. The first one is a really high APR. If your loan's APR is more than 6.5 percentage points above the current market rate for a similar loan, ding, 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 an alarm bell goes off and the HOPE rules apply.
The second trigger is all about the upfront fees. If the points and fees you're being charged add up to more than 5% of your total loan amount, that also flags it as a high-cost loan, and those extra HOPA protections automatically kick right in.
So what do these protections actually do? Well, HOPA outright bans the most dangerous and predatory loan features. We're talking about things like massive balloon payments, those prepayment penalties that lock you into a bad deal, and negative amortization, where your debt actually increases over time. All of them are completely illegal in a HOPA loan.
Our final problem, it's a little more subtle, but it is just as important. How do you know the professionals you're working with, your agent, your lender, are giving you advice that's in your best interest and not because they're getting some kind of secret kickback? This is where Section 8 of RESPA comes in. It's a really powerful anti-corruption rule. It makes it illegal for anyone to give or receive anything of value, which could be money, trips, gifts, you name it, just for a business referral. So your agent can't get a secret payment for sending you to a specific lender.
This chart does a great job breaking down the difference between what's legal and what's not. So a title company paying a loan officer a fee just for a referral, that's a classic illegal kickback. But a company sponsoring a lunch for an office, that's just considered normal marketing. Here's the bottom line. People can be paid for actual work they do, but they can't get paid just for steering you to a particular company.
Looking back at all of this, it's easy to feel like these laws are just more red tape. More complicated forms, more rules, and more hoops to jump through on the path to owning a home.
But that red tape is actually a safety net. Every single one of these rules was created to solve a real-world problem, to fight hidden costs, to fight unfairness, predation, and corruption. They are not obstacles. They are your rights, designed to protect you in what's likely the biggest purchase of your entire life.
Knowing these rights is your best tool for navigating that mortgage maze. But it does leave us with a final question. In an age of AI-powered lending and instant online mortgages, what's the next great challenge for home buyer protection? And are the laws we have today ready to meet it?